Hello and welcome to Legislative Report. I'm State Representative Brian Ellis of the 11th District in Butler County. On today's program, we'll be taking a look at the 96th Pennsylvania Farm Show. This is the premier event for agriculture, which is the Commonwealth's #1 industry. The dual mission of the show is to highlight and honor our farmers and food producers while educating the non-farming public about the industry. Let's take a few moments to hear about some current farming issues from the Secretary of the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture, George Gregg.
We're here today to talk about agriculture issues and farming issues with the new Secretary of Agriculture, George Gregg. Pleased to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you.
This is the 96th Annual Farm Show. 96 years of showing what Pennsylvania does best. Why is it a continuing success?
Well, it's oftentimes considered our state fair. And who doesn't have fun at a state fair? It's a celebration of agriculture, yearly celebration, and a lot of people in the wintertime, they get cabin fever, and this is a great way to get over your cabin fever and come and celebrate agriculture. Also, we're getting to the point where we're many generations away from the farm, and this is a good place to touch base with agriculture, to see how your food is produced. It's a chance for the young people to touch base with animal agriculture and farmers, and ask questions that they need to know about where their food comes from.
Speaking about young people are always very enthusiastic about new technology. I understand there's new technology that's available to help people find out more about this farm show and to get around.
There is. We have an app for your phone where you can navigate the farm show complex on your phone. This is a very intimidating complex. It's 24 acres under roof. 1 million square feet, and just the facility itself is worth coming out to see. But there are 6,000 head of livestock, and there are 10,000 exhibits here for this farm show week. And it's just, if the best that Pennsylvania has to offer is here.
And of course, this has been a very challenging year for farmers because of some of the climatological things we've been experiencing, all the rain we had this year. How did that affect the industry?
Well, it was devastating to the industry. We have, since I've taken office, we have had an earthquake, we've had floods, we've had drought, we've had tropical storms. It's just been all in the same year. And it was very hard on our farmers, but farmers are resourceful, and they will make it out of this. Governor Corbett has instructed us to lean forward and help those that had flood damage, and we did just that. We steered all of our constituents to whichever way they needed to go, whether it was federal programs, state programs, FEMA programs, or crop insurance programs.
And of course, the environment is always on people's mind. And there are a number of programs that Pennsylvania farmers use to help to make sure our environment is protected. What kind of programs do they participate in?
For years, the farmers have voluntarily put best management practices on their farms, conservation strips, conservation tillage, just a whole host of environmental practices. And farmers themselves want clean air, clean water, and they want to retain their soil because they make their living off the farm, and they do not want to destroy that farm.
And speaking of making their living on the farm, it's important that we keep the farming tradition going in Pennsylvania. Of course, it's our largest industry. What kind of programs are ongoing statewide to help this happen?
Well, we have an FFA and 4-H programs in Pennsylvania that are fantastic. The 4-H program started as a corn growing contest in Mercer County, and now 110,000 youth 4-H students every year get the benefits of 4-H. Today at the farm show, we are awarding Keystone degrees to our FFA students. We have a midwinter convention for the FFA, so you might see more FFA students here today than normal, but the 4-H and the FFA are the youth programs of agriculture.
What about actually preserving the physical farm steads in Pennsylvania. What do we have that helps that happen?
As far as farmland preservation, Pennsylvania leads the nation in farmland preservation. We have 466,000 acres currently preserved. We hope to go over the 500,000 acre mark during this administration. It's a very, very good program because Pennsylvania, as an eastern state, has a lot to protect. We have to protect from the encroachment of the cities spreading out into our farmlands.
Also, a lot of people, of course, they come to the farm show, they see it on TV, they see the draft horse pulling contest, but there's a lot more to the equine industry than just draft horse pulling. What does that mean for Pennsylvania? How big an industry is it?
Oh, it's a multi-million-dollar industry. Pleasure drafting and draft horses, and there's a lot to be said about that. And this year, we started a wall of fame for the draft horse division, and we put three people's pictures up on that wall of fame. We're going to continue to grow on that. Historically, the horses have been, one of the modes of transportation for agriculture, and I think that their history deserves a place in our farm show.
And of course, buy local is something you really hear a lot of consumers thinking about lately. I understand that's part of the theme here at this farm show.
Yes, it is, and it's always important to buy local because it keeps the dollars in your local community. And but Pennsylvania-wide, we have the safest food in Pennsylvania, in the United States, it's very important to buy local because you know where your food comes from, and you can decide what's best for your family. And the safety of this food is impeccable. We don't want our food coming from other countries where we don't have the inspection services, we don't have the food safety programs that we have in Pennsylvania and the United States.
And I understand that that's one of the themes of this year's farm show, and that's from farm gate
to dinner plate.
Dinner plate.
Yes, that's right. It's kind of a buy local food safety issue. So.
And of course, there's a new program that's been actually made official this year for the first time, and that has to do with Pennsylvania Preferred. What's that all about?
That's correct. Governor Corbett signed into legislation. It was it's a permanent marketing brand, which on the tree behind you we have the PA Preferred logo, which is a blue keystone with a gold check mark in it. And we have over 2,000 businesses registered in the PA Preferred program, and that is PA Preferred, made in PA. It makes a difference, and it's just a fantastic program that supports the buy local idea.
And of course, your first year as Ag Secretary. Any looks toward the future in terms of what you'd like to see accomplished?
It's very exciting, and I hope that the second year that we don't have floods and earthquakes and all that, but I look forward to continuing to have agriculture number one and working on marketing our Pennsylvania ag products throughout the world, and hopefully that we can help our economy along the way.
Thank you, Secretary Gregg.
Thank you.
I'm here at the 96th Farm Show in Harrisburg with folks from back home, Ken and Kathy Metrick, and we're in the middle of the sheep hall. Walked past some pigs, we saw cows, saw food on the other side. I guess they don't keep the food and the animals together. But we're real excited to have you guys all the way out here from Butler. How many years have you been coming, Ken?
I started coming, I was still in high school in FFA, so late 70s through the early 80s, and I've missed one farm show since, so I've been to over 30 of them.
And you've been coming to just as many? Or?
Once I met him and married him.
Once you guys got married, then you came to the farm show every year.
20 years anyway.
Well, what keeps you coming back? I mean, obviously we have our own farm show back home, and it's smaller in scale, but what keeps you coming back out here to Harrisburg to this one?
You learn a lot. There's a lot here, for farmers, new information, equipment, new technology, stuff like that. Then when the girls got older and got involved in 4-H showing animals, they showed sheep here. And so that in the whole family, their cousins. I think one year we had like 12 rooms at the hotel. There was so many of us, and it's kind of our vacation, a mini vacation. And it's just good to come out here and see people that you've met in the past and support the youth with their 4-H and FFA projects. So it's I don't know. I feel if I didn't come, I'd really be missing out on something.
Well, certainly if you don't come to this, you are missing out on something. Now, this year you have sheep. Is that what you always bring?
Yeah, out here. We do pigs also. We have some cattle and that at home. But for the farm show, the state farm show, we only bring the sheep.
And have you ever won anything here with one of your sheep?
The girls have always placed. Sometimes, some years better than others. But it's just a great experience for them.
I'm sure it is. I mean, certainly when I walk through, I see all the youth, and I think it's a good sign. Obviously, in Butler, agriculture is huge. I mean, it's our number one industry still, but I think it's a sign that we're going to be able to continue in Pennsylvania and in Butler to have a healthy agricultural climate. What do you think is special about this event that the kids will benefit from being here?
I think the experience, like I said before, is the number one thing. They get the opportunity to meet other kids from the area. It's just at a much larger scale. We have a wonderful program in Butler County for 4-H and FFA, but it's nice to take it another step and get to meet kids from other areas, learn different things, different ways of doing things, and it's just they look forward to it.
Well, it certainly is a great event. Let me ask you real quick, what do we have here? I mean, obviously it's a sheep. But why don't you tell me a little bit about what's here and what you started the week with?
Well, this is our daughter Amy's market animal that she raised for the farm show. Our daughter's here about 5 years ago. They liked the sheep business. They went out and bought a small flock of sheep. So and they've been showing at the Butler Fair and Butler Farm Show, and then also out here. But this lamb was born February. It weighs 142 pounds as of right now. There's a weight limit that they have to shoot for, bottom end and the top end. The top end is 150, and I believe the bottom end is 80. So they have to weigh between 80 and 150 pounds in order to even be shown here. And so they do a lot of work with them. They feed them, then they walk them. Now they're both in college now, so like over Christmas they really worked with them a lot, and they have to be slick sheared, which means the wool can only be so long before they get here, before they get weighed in. So Christmas week they sheared their animals, they brought them out here, had them weighed in, checked in, and then they finished them off, kind of fine-tune them for show day after they were out here. But it's a lot of work. You start with that lamb in February, and then feed them and exercise them. You can't just leave them out on pasture. They have to get used to you, because when you go in the show ring, you have to set them up a certain way so that it's just like a bodybuilder, how they'll flex their muscles to make their muscles show. You have to teach that lamb to do that, and you brace up against it so he pushes off his back feet, and you can see the definition, the makeup of his muscles a lot better that way, and it makes it easier for the judge to judge those animals and compare those animals. So it's a lot of work for the youth, to bring to raise an animal and get them to show quality and to be able to come out here and place.
Yeah. And now, obviously, you told me earlier it's about to be sold.
Yes.
Now, will you get more money for it here than you would have back home?
Going through the auction, yes. The ones that don't, they take a certain percentage of each class that make the sale, because there's just too many here. The sheep sale would last all day if they let everybody sell. So the lower placed animals, they go out of here the day of the sale, and those kids will get market price. And which the price of lambs has held for the last couple of years really pretty good. So they will get for their animal here what the same thing if they would have took them to the New Wilmington auction back home. But the animals that go through the auction will get probably at least twice market value. And if the kids do their homework and go out and contact a couple buyers ahead of time, like they do at the farm show at home, the more people you have bidding, the higher your price is going to be. So it's a little bit of marketing strategy for the youth also.
Well, I guess so. They're not only learning about raising the sheep, but they're learning about the market economy and everything like that. So that's good. Now let me ask you this, Mom: the girls, what age did they start raising the sheep?
They were 8 years old when they first started. Now they've had their own flock for probably about 5 years.
Okay. Now, when obviously they come home from college, they're excited to see the flock, and then there's a few of them missing. Do they grow attached to the animals as they're raising them?
You know what? They've been raised literally with that idea. They know that they're not here forever, and they know that everything on the farm pretty much, is for a purpose.
Right.
And they're good with it. They've accepted it. I mean, there's a few tears, but they realize.
I would imagine because, it's a pretty darn cute animal, and you get, I'm sure they all have their own individual personality and everything like that. But, obviously, good-looking animal. Excited to have you guys out here in Harrisburg. I hope you enjoy the trip. One final question for each of you. Obviously, one of the big attractions of the farm show is the food. And what do you like to eat the best?
Oh, I like if it's edible, I eat it. I'm not really particular. Anything out there is very good.
Yeah. Did you have a milkshake?
Yes, I had a milkshake. I had some fried vegetables. I didn't have my beef sandwich yet, but I might have to get that before we head for home. But
when are you heading home?
We'll head home this afternoon after the sale's over.
Okay, well, make sure he gets his beef before we go.
Sure he will.
So
we worked all day yesterday at the vegetable growers food stand. We're vegetable growers back home, and so we volunteered, both of us, 6 hours, and we sold a lot of food there yesterday. So it's a lot of fun. But there is a lot of good food here.
There definitely is, and I'll tell you what, for anyone watching at home, if you can't make it, obviously you're not going to make it out this year, but in the future, do everything you can to get to this event because it's absolutely spectacular. As you can see, we're near the pigs, and I'm here with Nathan from, where'd you say you're from, Nathan?
Prospect.
From Prospect, back home in Butler County. And you had brought a pig out this year, and why don't you just tell me a little bit about your experience here this year at the farm show?
My experience this year, my pig didn't make the sale, which I wasn't completely surprised at it. It had leg problems and couldn't walk right, but I did better than what I figured I would with a bummed leg pig. I got 9th place, which coming out here to States is pretty impressive. So
now, do you show back home at our farm show too?
Yes, I show at the Butler Farm Show. I usually have 2 pigs and 2 sheep and a breeding heifer. And I show at the Big Butler Fair with a breeding heifer. And I've done very good at all those shows.
Have you won the grand champion ever, or just a blue ribbon? Or
I've won reserve grand champion at the farm show, so
that's pretty impressive.
The only bad part was I was too young to realize what it was. And
now, what age did you? How old are you now, and what age did you actually start raising pigs and cows?
I'm 16 now, and my brother started when he was 12, I think, and I helped him, and I help our neighbor. He has a pig farm, and I started showing at the age of 8.
Okay. And how many years have you been out here at the State Farm Show?
My brother came out his 3rd year of 4-H, I think, 2nd or 3rd year, and I've been coming out every year with him, whether I've been shown or not, just as a family vacation and whatnot. And then my 2nd year of 4-H, I started showing out here, and this is the first year I haven't made the sale, so it.
Well, you have a good record coming in. You have one off year. It doesn't mean you can't start again. Now, what is the process like? When will you start raising a pig for next year's show?
We usually get the pigs in middle of September, and we'll have them until now. And they just fill the feeder up every day, and that's.
So when you get them, they're how big?
55, 60 pounds, and when we're done with them, they'll be 270, 280. So it's a lot 5 months, they usually gain about 1.5 pounds a day.
Now, do they come to you already named, or do you name them once they get there?
Sometimes we name them, sometimes we don't. It depends on how attached you get to them.
Right. Now, so you eventually you bring them out here in January, and then what do you do in before September? Like, what else is going on back home?
Not much. I'll help Ken and Kathy work around the farm, and my neighbor and another guy up the road. I like farming stuff. I like going out, helping other people.
Do you see yourself being a farmer long term?
If at all possible, yeah. I'd like to not maybe as a full-time job, but as a hobby, have some cows and some pigs and farm a little bit here and there.
Well, let me ask you this one final question. What is your favorite part of the experience? You've been coming for years. You said it's kind of like a vacation. What do you like the best?
Just coming out here and getting to meet new kids and showing off my animal and showing what hard work I've done with it to anybody who asks questions about it or anything along the lines of that. Just having fun.
So just the overall experience, spreading the word with other kids, getting a little bit more knowledge for yourself. That's obviously what the farm show is all about. So I'm glad that you're experiencing that. And then, did you get to eat over there at the booths at all?
Got a milkshake. That's the best part of the farm show.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, thanks a lot for coming out.
Yep.
Hopefully next year we'll see you in the winner's circle. When you drive down a country road past a barn, are you able to imagine what goes on inside? A display at this year's show opens the barn door and gives folks a peek at how the animals inside are cared for.
From farm gate to dinner plate was the theme of this year's show. One of the best demonstrations of this theme was the Today's Agriculture display, a giant barn filled with animals. The goal was to show the care of animals in modern farming.
A lot of consumers really have a misconception about how animals are raised. So we kind of wanted to open the doors to each segment. So each thing here is a snapshot of what you'd see if you went into a broiler house, a duck house, a layer house, to kind of give consumers an idea and say, hey, we're opening the doors. We want you to actually get rid of those misconceptions and to trust us. Because there's a lot of distrust there where people think, they think farms are corporately owned when the fact is most farms are actually family farms.
What I think it's going to allow them to see is that they put the misnomer aside that when the animals are in these facilities that they drive by every day, that they're not, packed in like sardines, so to speak, that they're not being mistreated, that they don't have light, they don't have water, and a lot of these things that you hear out there about the mistreatments of animals and stuff. And when you look at some of the exhibits, the poultry here is a good example of it, of the automatic feeders and the waters and the heat lamps, and those are things that you would find in these modern facilities today so that we can keep the animals healthy, growing well, growing fast, so that they can put a product on the consumer's table.
Volunteers from each industry fielded questions about what the animals eat, their life cycle, and the design of their pens.
The crowd has been unbelievable. It's been pretty much jam-packed for the last 4 days. People are asking a lot of good questions, and they're really getting into it. I think people like seeing how animals are raised. They're making the connection that my eggs are coming from this type of system, and that's exciting for me to see.
Well, that's why we kept her home from school today, to bring her down to see how things actually go from the farm to your house.
I think they take care of the animals. They feed them, they take care of them, and I think they're real cute.
Visitors were struck by the new techniques being used by farmers today.
It's really neat seeing the way the new stuff is, how it evolved and come around. Yeah, it's pretty cool. This is pretty modern.
How they're feeding their animals nowadays with the pipes and how they're getting the water to the animals. It's really nice.
It's a lot cleaner, too.
It's a lot cleaner.
Many people are also learning that there's more to farming than meets the eye.
People are amazed of the science behind agriculture. And when I tell them I go to school for it, they're kind of blown away because they don't think that, people go to school. They're really amazed that we put so much science behind agriculture. And there's a reason to what we do. I mean, we don't just do things. I mean, everything has a reason, a select reason, and it's always for the animal's benefit.
Feed crops like soybeans and corn were displayed outside of the barn to demonstrate the ways of increasing yields for a society that continues to demand more food.
McDonald's keeps adding restaurants, and Sheetz gas stations. They keep adding, gas stations that serve food. And these places are going to demand more food, and we got to find better ways to get it and stuff too. So through modern technologies, we found what are the best ways we can keep the animals healthier, which ways we can make the corn grow faster and more efficiently, so when it's harvested, we get the most from the production.
The grain, the soybean meal, the corn all takes water, and so we've got to be efficient converters of feed into food.
Sponsors of the exhibit hope that the hundreds of visitors were educated and will now think twice about the food on their plate and the local farmer who supplied it.
Pennsylvania is making it easier to take advantage of the fresh fruits and vegetables available at your local farm market, especially for low-income consumers or seniors on fixed incomes.
During Farm Show Week, Tad Kuntz puts in some volunteer time at the apple stand in the food court, but his full-time job is running a Central Pennsylvania farm market that participates in the Farmers Market Nutrition Program.
We feel like it does a great service for the community because we want those people to get fruits and vegetables in their hands so they can eat healthier.
The program combines federal and state funds to give $20 worth of vouchers to eligible seniors to spend on fresh Pennsylvania-grown produce. It provides the same service plus free supplemental foods to families who participate in the Women, Infant, and Children programs.
The farmers markets are growing very rapidly right now. Almost every city has farmers markets now. And most of the farmers markets, most of the vendors accept the vouchers, so they can use them there and get fruits and vegetables in their hands. And the quality is so much better than what they're used to seeing at the grocery store in many cases.
Michael Packard, Executive Deputy Secretary of the State Department of Agriculture, says this program really helps those who are stranded, so to speak, in our most urban areas.
There's areas of cities which are deficient. They do not have grocery stores and they don't have fresh fruits and vegetables. So when we're able to support getting a farm market into a center city area and pumping fresh fruits and vegetables and Pennsylvania products into there, it really helps the consumers from a nutritional standpoint in those areas.
According to Packard, nearly 2,000 farmers markets and roadside stands currently accept the food vouchers. He believes even more will get on board once the word spreads about another brand new program.
We just received a federal grant about a year ago to purchase 138 EBT readers. Those are the electronic benefit readers, and these readers are wireless, so they enable a farm market that's wherever in Pennsylvania to be able to accept SNAP benefits from people coming to the farm market. So that was always a barrier possibly, as people, especially those that need or nutritionally at risk, did not feel they could afford the products. But now with these EBT readers that we're providing to farm markets, they will be able to use their SNAP benefits there.
Each year, $78 million worth of business is done at more than 7,000 markets, where Pennsylvania consumers can get fresh fruit and vegetables straight from the farm. The Farmers Market Nutrition Program creates more customers for these markets while helping more people improve the nutritional value of their diets. Truly a win-win situation.
It is a guaranteed income from us because it's a check that can't bounce. We turn it into to our bank and we get the money in return. And in return, it's great for the people. And farmers always want to, we want to help the people.
For more information on the Farmers Market Nutrition Program or the EBT machine grants, see the Department of Agriculture website at agriculture.state.pa.us.
That's all the time we have for today's program. I'm State Representative Brian Ellis. As you watch the profile of the 96th Pennsylvania Farm Show, I hope you gain a greater appreciation for agriculture and its importance to our Commonwealth. If you have any question about today's program or any state government matter, please contact me at my local office. The address and number will be shown in a moment. Thanks again for watching, and please join me next time for another edition of Legislative Report.